Starting this one off with a newcomer, it's the Figure Complex Amazing Yamaguchi Psylocke figure. Now, Amazing Yamaguchi started gaining some traction in 2018. I got the Wolverine figure earlier that year, which was okay, just good enough for me to say, okay, I'm gonna give this line another shot, and I bought Psylocke, and I'm really happy with this figure. I love the flashy paint job, all the chrome in the outfit, the crazy hairstyle. It's really a lot more of an anime style, and I dig that. I mean, I usually have just anime figures, but I really love the X-Men, and them kind of combining that with the flashiness on top. Sign me on. With another Gambit coming out in 2019, I'm really looking forward to this line. Finally, the most important aspect of this figure to me is the articulation. Now, the Amazing Yamaguchi, they have crazy articulation, and it's kind of wonky at some points, but for Psylocke it fits because this is one of the best articulated figures I have. And for a ninja character like Psylocke, I think that's very important. So the posing ability is just crazy, over the top, and great package overall. Now, the two most important additions to the Mortal Kombat line from Storm Collectibles this year was undoubtedly Shao Kahn and Goro, but I only want to pick one. So for the number 9 spot, at first, Shao Kahn is a great figure. I mean, both of them are great, but I had some quality control issues as the color of his helmet was rubbing off on his face, and the fact that all his armor is soft plastic makes it kind of weird to me. I mean, it's armor. Why is it all flopping around? So I gotta give this one to the man, half dragon, all badass, 4 arms. It's Goro. Yes, this figure, I mean, I just recently reviewed him. I waited on him, and one of the reasons why this top 10 is so late this year, because I wanted to wait on Goro and see if it fits on his list. And yes, he does. He's big, he's bulky, and just really gives that old school Mortal Kombat vibe, which we want. Now, the reason why he's not high on the list, once again, we have a little bit of an issue with the feet, which don't rotate really well to the side, which makes the articulation really suffer. But at the end of the day, the figure still looks amazing and just has a presence to it. Now, one of my personal surprises of 2018 is the SH Figure Arts Thanos. Now, I'm not saying surprise as in I didn't expect this figure to be good, but in surprise as in I wasn't even gonna get this guy. I don't collect the Marvel line, so I wasn't really that invested into it. But then I watched the movie and things just happened, and I was like, you know what? He's kind of pretty cool, right? He's just kind of snapping guys away, and my local comic book store, shout outs to the Fancy Box, just happened to get him at that time, and I was just like, you know what? Let's get the dude. With the Figure Arts line and the Figmas, you usually always have the same basic muscular anime style bodies, so it's always interesting what they're gonna do when they're having like a big guy, big muscly dude, and Thanos just delivers on all fronts. He has the 3D printed face, it's amazing. You have the nice gold in the Infinity Gauntlet in contrast to his cloth style. Rest of the outfit and the articulation works. It's good. I mean, it gets the job done. It's not too funky, but it doesn't really distract from the mode, and that's really important to me that they saved the look and still got good articulation out of it. So yeah, I mean, Thanos just came out of nowhere and snapped all my doubts away. Figma. Of course there has to be Figma on this list. I mean, god damn it, it's the thing I collected the most this year without a shadow of a doubt. And we're starting this one off with the Figma Fate Extella Nero Claudius. A figure that came in with a lot of hype. A lot of people love the design, and I mean Saber. This is the first time we got a new Saber, except for the one they released ages ago with like a PSP game. So Nero really has that sleek design, that nice gold and royal red outfit, the crazy sword, which was done so well on the figure with all the different paint apps they got on there. And that's really the thing, the paint, the paint on this figure is quite frankly fantastic. As I still remember, during the review, I was looking for slips, the lines that go around the dress, and all across the board, it's just cleanly done. You got them crazy anime eyes, which Nero Claudius really has them special. Really distinctive style in her eyes, and they got that right. Hair sculpt, and everything just looks great. You got the gold with her shield and the shoulder pads and everything going on. So really the execution is what makes this figure so special. The only downside, no articulation in the dress, which is weird because previous Sabers always had joints in her dress, but for this one, they didn't do it. I mean, I guess it makes for a cleaner look, but still, some articulation in the dress would have been appreciated. Now here's my second surprise of 2018. It's the Saint Seiya Saint Cloth Myth Phoenix Ikki in the revival version. Holy crap, that's a mouthful. I don't really collect the Saint Cloth Myth line, but it's really impressive. The one thing that always bothers me with the characters is that they're falling apart. I mean, I have Athena, I have Pegasus Koga, and as I was recently still moving actually into my new apartment, transporting these guys was a real pain, no pun intended. But really, it's stuff just falling off, falling apart, like arm braces, whatnot. With Ikki, I feel like they fixed that. Ikki just really stick together, everything snaps into place. And as for all of the line, everything is nice and chrome. Because dumb people like me like shiny things. I know, I get it. But we have a ton of chrome, ton of die cast. He looks great. And I don't own the previous version, but a friend of mine told me that they did some fixes to the face sculpt. I think armor is overall still the same, but apparently this one is a little bit of a better version than the previous release, so yeah, that only adds to it. It's Figma time again. As for this one, we're looking at the Figma Fate Grand Order Ruler Jeanne d'Arc. Or so I would have thought. A little bit afterwards, we got Figma Fate Grand Order Avenger Jeanne d'Arc in the Alta version, which is actually the figure I want to give the 5th spot to. Now, why do I like Alter better than regular Jeanne? Well, first and foremost, as I mentioned in the review, all men are corrupted by evil. And it's true. Design-wise, Jolted just looks more interesting to me. First and foremost, you got the darker color scheme, which I'm personally a fan of. She has her entire outfit is ripped up at the tips, which adds a lot more detail to it, looks nicer, and the paint job, you also got the pink at the tips going over from the dark. And I mean, finally, that face sculpt, that one face sculpt, which is just, it's so great for the character, and it just fits. But for the rest of it, obviously, all the accessories are the same. You got the giant flag, you got the sword, so really, there's not much more you can ask for, except for maybe like, you know, different forms, Figma. They have different forms in the game. Why not get different forms as figures? So just get on that. It's TMNT time! Another thing that we seem to have every year, but you know, I love me some TMNT. But is it just me, or do the turtles keep slipping down a little bit the list every year? Yeah, we'll get to that. But I'm gonna have a look at the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles SDCC 2018 exclusive 9090 movie figures. Titles, please. They're killing me. But yeah, these figures are just amazingly well done. It looks like straight out of the movie. You got all kinds of crazy accessories, everything you need, different bandanas, pizzas, weapons, of course. And the belt is made out of soft plastic, and the figures itself are made out of a softer, squishier plastic, so it makes them feel like real reptilians. Articulation is very nice, and it's overall a great package, which would have been a lot higher on the list if it wasn't for this one asterisk, this SDCC exclusive. Once again, NECA, I'm begging ya, you making these guys impossibly hard to get. For, you know, I'm a huge TMNT fan. I try to have as much complete as of a collection as I can, but you're making really hard year after year after year to make these SDCC exclusive ones, which I had to drop a ton of money on, and only a couple of months later you're being like, oh well, they're gonna be in retail, which is fine. Thank you. For everybody who doesn't have these guys, go out and get them once they drop at GameStop. But you know, just I want these guys as regular releases. I know licensing is a problem, but please get your act together for 2019. That's all I gotta say. Amazing figures, but all the backstage politics, I don't approve of it. Alright, so I gotta move on with something a little bit more positive. And we got the SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball Son Goku in the childhood version. Yes, it's not a Goku. More Goku for everybody, but it's actually a different Goku. It's Kid Goku, and just like I mentioned before, when Figure Arts does anything that's different, we had the Thanos, now we have the Kid Goku, the complete opposite, a smaller style figure. What are they going to do with it? And quite frankly, they just delivered as far as the look goes. Yes, he's still not completely in scale with everybody else from the Dragon Ball Z line or Dragon Ball Super, whatever, just to figure out Dragon Ball line. It's not all in scale, but I can forgive them because when I look at the figure, I tell myself, yes, if they would have made him even smaller, would have been really hard to get all the articulation in there. So I'm fine with it. I accept it because the figure looks cool. The articulation is great. And you could say, well, it's like a smaller figure, but what about the price? Well, you got all kinds of accessories. And the one that really stuck out to me is the Flying Nimbus, which is awesome that they would make such a thing. And it's very nicely molded, very nicely painted. And the figure itself just delivers on all fronts, and there's not much more I can ask for. So yeah, top 3 for this kid. Going back one final time to Storm Collectibles, Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, Akuma in the nostalgic costume. That part is very important. Nostalgic costume, guys. Akuma is my favorite character, period, from the Street Fighter line. He's a demon with glowing red eyes, red fiery hair, and how can you not like that? So when Storm Collectibles did the Street Fighter V, the regular Street Fighter V Akuma with the Lion King design, the figure was great, but you know, I don't like the Lion King design. So when they came out with the nostalgic costume, I was all over it, obviously. It's still the same body as the Lion King version, but just really the different head, the different gi. He got them real beads around his neck is what makes the difference. And then we got another one. They also did the Shin Akuma, which you could also put at this spot, but I just prefer the red. But I got the Shin Akuma, again, because I love Akuma, because he's an actual character in the lore of Street Fighter, and not just, I mean, it's just a repaint, let's be honest here, as a figure. I appreciate it, because more Akuma means more fun, double the Akuma, and that's why he's on the second place. No, it's just like Storm Collectibles, delivering quality molds, quality articulation, and just everything else is great on this figure. It's the perfect Akuma. I don't know how you can make this any better, and that's why he's number 2. And then for the number 1 spot, the crown jewel, we got Figma Fate Grand Order Lancer Cuckoo Lane. Yes, this guy? You might be wondering, this guy out of all the guys? Let me explain. Now, I talk about paint shop a lot in this list, and while there's not that much paint on this character, it's all like small gray lines that you have to draw around, and it's really harder to do than a lot of other things on this list, right? So first and foremost, that looks great. You got like the more muted tones, the blue and the gray, and then you got the nice metallic shoulder pads. You got the really red metallic crimson style lance, which just looks amazing. The hair sculpt is very nicely done. You got them crazy eyes in the face, which is personally my favorite face on this guy when he really goes into a little bit of a berserk state. Finally, the articulation. This is the best articulated Figma I've ever had. in my hands. And that's really the thing with Figma. They like to try around a little bit. So you have a little bit more of a simple figure, but they really deliver in points you might not even expect them to go. So because Figma is usually always the same with the articulation, but with this guy you have a lot more joints in the shoulder. Double hinge knees? Like double hinge knees on the Figma? We don't have that. And just overall, this guy is fun. And I don't talk about playability at all because I usually don't play around with my figures that much. I mean, sometimes it depends. But for this guy, playability is over 9,000. What am I saying? It's so fluent. It's so nice. Once again, going back to moving into my new apartment. This guy, I sat here so long playing around with him, seeing what pose I can do, and just the possibilities are almost endless. And that's really the specialty. That's really what got him to number one. He ticks all the boxes that everybody else on his list has, but really has that much more extra. That extra paint job, that extra articulation, that extra look, which makes Cuckoo Lane number one.